Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet, as well as my yearly package with the Christmas and July sale, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, Major League Baseball. Next up, the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. No official starter for the Cardinals, but Martin Perez should be going for Pittsburgh. Now, the Cardinals have just not done well against left-handed pitching this year. From really the beginning of the season, to now, when you look at the last and so far in the month of July, they're near the bottom of the league in OPS, isolated power, just not a great lineup against lefties. Now, Perez, on the other side, he has struggled for Pittsburgh, especially recently, and because of his recent struggles, that ERA is now above 5.6. You look at that last game, his first start of the second half against the Philadelphia Phillies, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, 3 2/3 innings. Now, the Pirates did go on to win that game, and it goes to show you the Pirates' offense has just been a lot more competitive recently. Their bullpen's made improvements. When you look at their bullpen in the month of July, one of the better pens in terms of the expected numbers. So, even though Perez is not in great form, I do think it's a beneficial matchup facing the St. Louis Cardinals. He did face them back on the 4th of July and actually pitched really well in that game. 7 1/3 innings, only 1 run given up. So I'm going to side with the Pirates in this one on the money line. For the Red Sox and Rockies matchup, we see Nick Pivetta and Cal Quantrill as the starters. And Cal Quantrill's been a really nice piece in this Rockies rotation this year. And at Coors Field, having a 4.06 home ERA, that's really solid for a Coors Field starter. He's been able to keep the Rockies in a lot of these home games, including the last one where he had a quality start against San Francisco. Rockies go on to win that game 7-3. I like the Rockies in this spot. I think Quantrill pitches okay. I mean, the Red Sox are a very strong lineup against right-handed pitching, but Quantrill's done a good job at limiting sharp contact, keeping his team in ball games. And Nick Pivetta, he's not had a lot of Coors Field experience, but the Coors Field experience he does have is not good at all. He's at 7 1/3 innings. He was 0-2, 7 1/3 innings with a 17.18 ERA, 14 earned runs in those 7 1/3 innings. We know Pivetta, so far this year has much better numbers on the road compared to Fenway Park, but those road games aren't Coors Field. For somebody that gives up a lot of home runs like Pivetta does, Coors Field is kind of a nightmare place to pitch, so I think he's in trouble in this one. I'm going to go with the Rockies on the money line. Next up, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Minnesota Twins. Aaron Nola for the Phillies, no official starter for the Twins. Despite the injuries, I still think this is a very competitive Twins team, and especially against a right-handed pitcher, you get guys like Julian and Larnach in the lineup. I like the matchup here for Minnesota against Aaron Nola, who, his last game against the Pirates wasn't great. 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 6 base hits. We know that the Phillies were able to give him a pretty good lead early in that game. It wasn't enough. The Phillies lost that one 8-7. I worry about Nola a little bit in this matchup. We'll have to see who the official starter is for Minnesota, but I've mentioned I really like this bullpen. I'm going to go with the Twins on the money line. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Chicago Cubs in the NL Central. No official starter for the Brewers. Justin Steele should be going for Chicago. Now, when you look at the numbers offensively for the Brewers in the month of July against lefties, they have crushed them. And they're top 10 in OPS, ISO, WRC+, plus, you name it, against southpaws. A low strikeout rate, sub 18%, and a high walk rate to go with it. Really, any lefty right now facing this Brewers lineup, I like the Brewers' chances offensively, except maybe Justin Steele, who has just had really good career numbers against Milwaukee. He's faced them twice this year. He had both, quality starts, 7 innings, a shutout ball, 8 strikeouts in the first one, 6 innings, a 3-run ball with 5 Ks in a 5-3 Cubs win in the next one. I know Steele wasn't his best in that last start against Arizona, but he has a sub-3 ERA in July, a sub-3 ERA in June. He's pitching pretty well, and he just pitches well against this Brewers lineup. The Cubs bullpen's made improvements. Their lineup's made improvements as well. Right now, I'm leaning towards the Cubs on the money line. We'll see who the starter is for Milwaukee, but right now I'm going to go with the Cubs on the money line. Next up, we'll go to the AL West as the Astros take on the A's. We're going to see Brown and Sears as the starters. Hunter Brown, last game I mentioned, he didn't have his best stuff, but he still was good enough against a pretty weak Mariners lineup to be able to get a quality start and a win for the Astros in the end. I still think Brown is one of the better options in the AL West as far as starting pitchers go, and he's in great form after a really bad start to the year. He's just been a completely different pitcher. I think he pitches pretty well. I mean, the Oakland A's have turned it on here offensively in July, but I still think Brown pitches well, pitches a quality start. JP Sears has faced the Astros twice. He's pitched pretty well in both of those games. Had a quality start back on May 25th and had 5 innings of 1-run ball in the game on May 14th. It's surprising because the Astros are a pretty good lineup against left-handed pitching. Sears is in good form right now. His last in the month of July so far, a sub-2 ERA, definitely big improvements from a weak June. But still, I got to go with the Astros here. I just think Hunter Brown, if it's going to be Brown versus Sears and they cancel each other out through the first 5-6 innings, I trust this Astros bullpen a lot more in a close game late. So I'm going to go Houston on the money line and run line in this one on the road. Next up, another AL West matchup. This one, the Angels and the Mariners. We're going to see Luis Castillo and Griffin Canning as the starters. Now, Griffin Canning has not had a great 2024, 3-10 with a 5.2 ERA. He has struggled so far in July with an ERA at 9. However, you're facing the Mariners in this one. The Mariners have kind of been the ultimate equalizer recently offensively, where struggling starting pitchers still have put together a pretty good outing against Seattle because the Mariners are ranked 26th in isolated power, 28th in team OPS, and they have a 30.9% strikeout rate against righties in July. The walk rate's a little bit high, 8.4%, not bad, but to me, if this is, if there was a spot for Griffin Canning to put together a bounce back start, this would be the one. Castillo's pitched well against the Angels this year, and by the way, Canning has also pitched well against Seattle. He had one start against them back on June 2nd. It was 6 2/3 of 1-run ball. I'm going to go with the under here at a pitcher-friendly ballpark with two lineups I don't really trust. At 6:40 Eastern, we see an interleague matchup between the Orioles and the Marlins. Edward Cabrera for the Fish, no official starter for Baltimore. Edward Cabrera is still not pitching deep into ball games yet. The pitch count's been very limited. Last game, he went up to 81 pitches, but he had 5 walks and 4 2/3 against the Mets. Now, he was able to get out of some jams. He had only 1 earned run given up, but still give up a home run, 5 hits to 5 walks, and only 1 strikeout to go with it. He's somebody that last year had well over a strikeout per inning with the Marlins. So, for me, the inconsistencies of, definitely scary now going against the Orioles. I know they haven't been as strong offensively against righties in July as they were in previous months, but still, Cabrera, I just can't trust him in this spot, and I think the Orioles get to him for a few runs, win this game, and cover the run line. So give me the O's on the run line in this one. Another 6:40 Eastern start time between the Tigers and the Guardians. For this one, Tanner Bybee and Jack Flaherty are the starters. And Jack Flaherty's faced the Guardians twice this year. Not an easy lineup to face, but he pitched well against them. 2.25 ERA across 12 innings, sub-200 opponents batting average. Flaherty himself has been better on the road this season with a sub-3 ERA. He had a little bit of struggle. We saw that game against the Angels where he gave up 5 earned runs. There were some injury concerns. He missed a couple. They skipped him in the rotation. But after that, he faced Cleveland, went 6 innings, 1-run ball. Toronto, 5 2/3 of 2-run ball, so just 1 out shy of a quality start. 8 strikeouts and a Tigers victory. The Tigers are now 4-1 in his last 5 starts. When you look at Bybee, you look at the fact that he's not been that great at Progressive Field this year. The Tigers are improving offensively against righties. For me, I like Detroit in the first 5 innings. Don't love their bullpen, so I'm going to take Detroit in the first 5, but I also think they win the full game. Next up, the Padres and the Nationals. Matt Waldron and Mitchell Parker are the starters. And Parker, we know the final start for him in the first half of the season, he wasn't able to get out of the first inning against Milwaukee. It was 2/3 of an inning, 5 earned runs given up. And the Nationals were able to mount a comeback in that game and win that one 6-5. However, in this spot, Waldron's pitched well on the road. The Padres have improved their numbers against left-handed pitching offensively. I like San Diego in this game to grab a road victory, so give me the Padres on the money line. Game 2 of the Subway Series is 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. We got Sean Manaea and Garrett Cole as the starters. And Sean Manaea is a lefty. The Yankees have not been great against lefties in 2024, but I still like their matchup here against Manaea, who's got a 4.35 expected ERA, 4.3 xFIP. I do expect regression going forward in the second half of the year, and I think the Yankees get to him for a few runs early. I also don't love this Mets bullpen, which in the month of July has a pretty steep ERA, and when you look at Garrett Cole, while he wasn't great, the first couple of games looked a little bit shaky in his return, he has been very sharp since. His last 2 starts, both against division rivals in the Orioles and Rays, when it combined 12 innings, 2 earned runs, and 15 strikeouts. So he's earning the strikeouts, limiting the walks, limiting the base runners, and winning games for the Yankees, which he did all last year when he won his Cy Young, and the Yankees have now won 4 straight of Garrett Cole starts, and of course all 4 of those were run line covers. So give me the Yankees in this one on the run line. Next up, we'll go to the AL East as the Rays take on the Blue Jays. Zach Eflin and Yariel Rodriguez are the starters, and because Zach Eflin just continues to not pitch too well away from Tropicana Field. He's got an ERA above 5 on the road this season. His first start of the second half was on the road at Yankee Stadium, and he struggled in that game in a Yankees win. So for me, while maybe don't love this Blue Jays lineup, I actually like what I'm seeing from Yariel Rodriguez. I think he can at least hold down the fort through the first 4 or 5 innings, and the Blue Jays have a lead through the first 5 innings. I don't love that bullpen, so give me Toronto in the first 5 money line. Next up, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Texas Rangers. Chris Flexen and Nathan Eovaldi are the projected starters. Both starting pitchers struggling in their last starts. Nathan Eovaldi, right off the bat against the Orioles, gave up a home run in the first inning. Really wasn't able to bounce back from that. He gave up 3 home runs by the end of that start. But I still think Eovaldi is the better option by a good amount in this game. I like the Rangers lineup more against the right-handed pitchers. Chicago, even worse than the Mariners in the month of July offensively against righties. So I think Eovaldi bounces back, and I think the Rangers grab a win in a run-line cover at Globe Life Field. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Kansas City Royals. Ryan Nelson and Michael Wacha are your starters. And I think there's 2 really good options to start this game. I really like what I've seen from Ryan Nelson recently. He's somebody that we know has struggled mostly at Chase Field. He's been solid on the road, but recently it just looks like he has a new approach. He looks a lot sharper. His strikeout numbers are going up. The control's been a little bit better now. He does give up some sharp contact here and there, and that's why I do think the Royals, I think they benefit from a matchup like this, especially at Kauffman, where we know their offense has just been a lot stronger. I could see a guy like Bobby Witt Jr. or Salvador Perez finding a solo shot or 2 against Nelson early in this game. And honestly, with the way that Michael Wacha has pitched recently, that might be enough for a win for Kansas City. This Royals team is tough to beat at Kauffman, and I got to go with the Royals in this one on the money line. And the final game we're to talk about for the Wednesday card in Major League Baseball, the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Robbie Ray makes his season debut for San Francisco, and Tyler Glasnow on the other side for the Dodgers. Now, Robbie Ray pitched quite a bit in the minor leagues for his rehab starts. They didn't want to rush him, and he honestly pitched pretty well. He had some mixed results early on, but pitched well overall in those rehab outings. His strikeout numbers were there. The control was really sharp, which is had been a concern here and there for Ray in his career, especially early on when he was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The walks piled up early for him. The home runs, he also gave up quite a few, but it was pretty sharp in the minor league starts. Now, this is much different than the minor leagues, facing the Dodgers here at Dodger Stadium, a tough lineup against a lefty, but I think Robbie Ray puts together a decent outing. Probably only goes about 4 or 5 innings at the most. When you look at Glasnow on the other side, he's pitched well. While he may not be as dominant for the Dodgers recently as he was at the beginning of the season or in recent years, I still think he's a great option for the Dodgers in this game. I like the under. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those baseball picks in the comment section below. And again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.